guys, this is Phil and Florence. Stay tuned for something real special today. I'm bringing you a recipe, a special recipe that I've spoke of for the last year and a half on my channel and kept promising you that I was going to show you how to make it. Well, a famous chef once said, barbecue is like cocaine and hash is like crack. That's right. I'm going to show you something today you've probably never had with your barbecue plate. You just don't see it outside of this area here in South Carolina. As kids, we grew up with this. When you said barbecue, it was pulled pork, whole hog, pit cooked, chopped up as we know it as pulled pork, and rice and hash. Oh my gosh, why they don't serve this in restaurants all over the country, I don't know. This barbecue hash is found mostly in South Carolina, in the Midlands, the PeeDee area, and a little bit in the coastal. So it's hard to find it anywhere else. There's probably little pockets here and there over the country. Some people that love hash, they found out about it and they started making it, but I haven't seen it. Once you leave South Carolina, if you ask for rice and hash, huh? What? We ain't got that. So anyway, that's what we have on barbecue plates in this area is rice and hash along with that pulled pork, slaw, potato salad, candy yam, whatever else you want. The veggies you want, sides. We were used to a local barbecue restaurant that served their version of red, we call it red hash, not liver hash. Now Janet grew up a county over here in Florence, and she grew up on liver hash, which is good if you grow up on eating it. You know, it's like anything else. As a kid, if you grow up eating a certain thing, when you get older, you absolutely love it. And other people hate it. They think it's gross. But once I show you what's in this hash, now a lot of restaurants use everything but the squeal in a hog. But once you boil it and cook it off the bone, and some places even use internal organs. Now, I don't do that. So I'm getting ready to show you what I do use. Okay guys, here's all my ingredients. And we're gonna cut these up in like 2-inch cubes or so. That is the meat in this hash. You think my hash is, or when you hear the word hash, there's something ugly or awful or gross in it? No, the same Boston butt that we buy when we do pulled pork. That's what this hash is. It's ground pulled pork, and we're going to boil that in this pressure cooker, 26 quart pressure cooker. If you ever see one of these in a garage sale, you need to get it. It's a good one, and you can replace that stuff that gets broken. You can find that online. Anyway, after we boil this meat down, we're going to put it in this processor and chop it up. We're going to chop all this up and then add these ingredients. And so I got a lot of prepping to do and things like that before we come back. And I might show you a little bit of that, but not much. And then we'll come back and get with it. That fat will render out some good flavor. So we're going to boil all of this in that big pot, and I'm just going to do like this. I hear that pot heating up over there. When you're doing something like this, there's really no right way and wrong way. You just do it. That'll work. That'll work right there. Now I got another one to do. I'm gonna do this other one and I'll be back. We'll put it in the pot. Okay, here's our meat. We've got that's about 19 pounds of meat minus the 2 bones. So we'll end up with about, I don't know, with the fat rendered, I don't know, 17 pounds of meat by the time it's all said and done, but there it is. Okay guys, it's been about 15 minutes and I've got these 2 butts cut up, cubed up, and I've got 2 bones, 2 shoulder bones here. I'm gonna put in there to boil some of that flavor out of them. Of course, we won't be using the bone other than that. In the pressure cooker. Let it come up to pressure and then let it go for about 25 minutes. I may have too much water in here. I'll just have to go a little at a time and see where it ends up. I may have to dip a little water out if it's too high. Yeah, I had way too much water in it. I know there's a lot of flavor in that bone. Yeah, I believe that'll work. Get some flavor out of that bone. This is really not measured out. I'm going to put the salt in there. And 1, 2, 3. It's about 3 tablespoons of salt. And about 2 tablespoons of pepper. Now if you're using just a regular stock pot, you'll have to bring it up to a boil and just cook it until it's done. And we're going to cook it some more when we get it to the hash level in a pot. But of course, pressure cookers, I put the pressure on the meat and it does cook faster. I'm going to cover this up, line up your cooker lid. You got your counterweight on there, and that's for a certain pound. When it starts to jumping, you turn the heat down till it just settles into a, plus you bring your pressure dial up here. You let your pressure come up to about 15 pounds and just let that cook for 20 and then start your timer. Right, 25 minutes. That's the first stage. We got the meat going. Now I'm gonna get the food processor over here and start processing the onion, and the rest of this stuff is just in a can or a bottle. And after we get the meat done, we're gonna let it cool, take it out and let it cool, and we're gonna put it in the processor and get it cut up and chopped up real fine. It's gonna be a real fine ground meat ingredient. Then we're gonna get that big pot and put it all together, and I'll show you how we do that. We're right now. Alright, I'm going to get finished doing these onion, and then we're going to open up all the cans and be waiting for this meat. Putting these cans of crushed tomatoes, get that ready. Got the same thing in tomato sauce. Since we're half in the recipe, I'm going to go with 3 of them. We've had the stove on high, the gas stove, and it's up to 20 pounds and creeping up, and I hear a little sing in my valve back here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this down some. You don't want to cook on high with a pressure cooker. You want to go on down to medium and just see what it does. Alright, we're going to start that timer for 25 minutes. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes and you see my pressure's almost down to 0. It's still up some. Take that little valve there, pressure valve, and you can let the stuff pressure off of it. Just don't pick it straight up. Okay, it's just about to hit 0. You can barely hear it. I've got that spoon under there releasing that pressure. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, that's what we want. Now we can lift the lid up. Dude, never lift the lid while there's still pressure on a pressure cooker. That's just a safety tip and you'll be just fine. We're gonna take that valve, pressure valve cap off. Now there's no pressure. Always stand clear though and unlatch the cooker. Lift up, tilt it away from you so the steam won't come up in your face, and set your lid aside. Get it out of the way. The bone is crumbling. You see how that pressure got in that bone there? There's a lot of good flavor that came out of there. Okay. I'm not going to make you watch me lift all this meat out, but I'm going to begin to do that. You can see, if you pick it up, it's just crumbly and real uber tender. I want to taste it. Boy, that's some good pork there. Okay, we're going to let this cool off. It took about 40 minutes for this pressure cooker to die down and me relieving the pressure to get back to 0 where I could get it out. And it took about 35-40 minutes for it to build up the pressure. And I cooked it 25 minutes under pressure at 20 pounds, 22 pounds pressure. So we're going to let it cool off, then we're going to run it through the food processor. Talking about some good stock. Oh man, we've got about a gallon of good pork stock there. That's premium. You can put in some containers and freeze it. And you can put that in some rice and then all kinds of other recipes. Okay, I think our meat is cooled down enough where I can just grab it and put it in this processor. And remember, we're going for finely ground, finely chopped, and not really chopped. We don't want chopped. We want finely ground. You gotta keep working with it. You know, you're gonna really turn it into like mush. That's just the way it's gotta be. And actually it might work better if we put some liquid down in there with it, because we want it to turn to mush. I'm gonna try that. Hold on just a minute. Okay, I put a cup of the broth into the machine with the meat, and let's see what it'll do. It's definitely helped. That's what you want right there. That consistency. That consistency right there. That's actually what you want this to be. It's like mush. Yeah. There we go. Putting that half a cup of pork broth in with the meat in this processor, that's what we needed to do. That liquid helped help the meat to break down and start cutting up, being able to, just like you do any other thing that you mix water with or milk or any kind of liquid with. That's good. That's good to know. Okay. All right. I'm going to finish doing this and then I'll get back with you when we get ready to put everything together. How much of that you got? I've already put in some of the ingredients. I looked around and my phone was turned off. I don't know how that happened. Going in with 3 cans of tomato paste, And remember guys, I'll have this recipe out there if you missed some of it. Okay, the only thing that's left now is some Texas Pete. And I'm going to go in, it calls for a whole bottle. I'm just going to go in with a half a bottle or 3/4 of a bottle. We're not trying to make this hash hot. You can do that if you want to, but to me, hash is something that should be good on rice with a good flavor that the whole family can eat, not something that's real hot and spicy. It calls for a small jar of mustard. I'm going for a half, so I'm going to put about half of this container. This is a 8-ounce container. I'm just going to go with probably about 3 good tablespoons. Now, we put some salt in with the meat when we did that, but it needs more salt. I'm going to go in with 2 teaspoons. This is kosher salt. 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. This is a big pot now, remember that. Big pot. And on pepper, black pepper, I'm going to go in with 2 tablespoons of black pepper. And you can adjust on any of this type of stuff. Alright, I'm going to look around and see if there's anything that I've missed. I think we got it all. I don't know how much you saw the beginning of this. I got the tomato juice and the V8 and the tomatoes and the tomato sauce, the brown sugar, all that's been put in here. Now I'm going to start mixing this up. Oh yeah, this is going to be good. And if I need to thin this out any, I've got all that broth over there in that pot that I can use for that. Let me get through stirring this up and I'll come back. A little bit more Uncle Albert's mustard sauce, and I put a little bit of CHS sauce in it anyway. And I'm going to put, it's still pretty thick, so I'm going to need to thin it out a little bit. I'm going to put some of this pork broth that I boiled the meat in. I'm going to put the rest of this in there. That's 2 cups of broth. Let me stir this some more. I may as well turn the heat on. When you're cooking and heating up any kind of tomato based item in a pot, you cannot put it on high or even medium. It's got to be on low to start with. Then when it starts getting hot or warming up, you got to put it on simmer, at least simmer. And this stove has a extra simmer, which the stove actually, the gas eye actually turns on and off when it feels the need. And these 2 eyes over here do that. I'll move this over to that eye. I'm just starting here under the light and a good camera angle to show you what I'm doing. Let me get ready. Let me finish stirring this up and I'll come back and show you the final product. Okay guys, this is what I've ended up with. You see where I started, the meat was about halfway this pot when I started, the ground meat, and by the time I got through adding all the sauces and barbecue sauce and the tomato items and whatever else, I ended up with a pot full. This thing is up to the top, and I'm letting it simmer on real lightly simmered. You just hear that? This stove has a feature, this gas stove has a feature when you have it on ultra simmer or whatever, extra simmer, to cut on and off on its own. That's a real good feature because gas burns hot and you can burn something if you're not careful. I'm gonna taste it again. It's just now coming up to temperature to simmer good. So let's try it. Oh my gosh, that is so good, y'all. I ended up putting a quart of tomato juice, a quart of V8 juice, that whole bottle of Texas Pete hot sauce, and more barbecue sauce. So I ended up in more salt and pepper. So I'll have everything on my recipe drop down description box. And Janet's making a pot of rice over here, and we're gonna have some barbecue chicken for dinner out of the oven. But I wanted to concentrate on this hash, this barbecue hash, and I'm gonna come back and show you a taste test. Just a little bit. Alright, let's cover this thing back up and let it simmer. I'll probably, since it's got to simmer so low, this can probably be on simmer for 5 or 6 hours. Usually they say 2 hours, but I do not want to burn or scorch this hash. It's too much involved here to try to do it too fast. Guys, it's time to dip into this hash. This is Pif'S red hash. First we're going to get a little rice. We used some of that pork broth Janet did to make this rice with. It looks even better. We're going to start doing our rice like that, using some type of broth, chicken broth, pork broth. Alright, we don't get just a little bit around here. Okay, this is the time we've been waiting on. It's still simmering. Look at that. 16 quarts, probably 17 quarts. Woo! This is like gold. Mm-hmm. You don't find this just anywhere.
Nope.
Even in South Carolina, you don't find it in all restaurants in South Carolina. In our area that we have with our barbecue, when I say barbecue, I mean pulled pork. And you can have it with any of your barbecue, whether it's ribs, pulled pork, whatever.
Barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken. You can have it with anything, really.
Oh, he's doing the dance.
Y'all got to try this. I'm telling you. I'm not kidding you.
That's great.
Break out of your comfort zone. Jump out of the box and make this recipe, this hash recipe. Why all the barbecue restaurants don't serve this on rice, I do not know. Either they don't know about it or they're just too lazy to make it. Mm-hmm. But you'll love this. Believe me. It'll cost you about $50 to make a 16 quart pot like that. Well, you don't have to make a 16 quart, make an 8 quart. You got 25 bucks to invest in a butt. Just get a Boston butt, grind it up. You saw me do it on the video. And add your other things. I'm telling you, once you make it one time,
it's good.
See what you do?
And it freezes very well.
Yeah, it freezes real good. We freeze it in quart bags. But what you do is you have your pulled pork on your plate and you slide some of that pulled pork over there with that rice and hash. And oh my gosh.
Got the spices, onions in it, and just tomato paste.
We always have this. We ran out. And so we said we got to take the time to make some more hash. My kids love it. Everybody in Sumter and Florence loves it. And I know down in Orangeburg and Williamsburg County and right over in Lexington County in Columbia, you know, in this area, you ask people what their rice, if they like rice and hash.
Yeah, this is not liver hash.
No, it's not liver hash.
It's Boston butts.
Yep, ground up Boston butt.
So good.
Can't say it enough.
Okay.
Okay, that's our cook for the day. This will take you about 5 or 6 hours to do.
Yeah, it's a process.
Those of you who garden and put up vegetables and you got certain things, pickling, and other things that you put up in a large quantity, you know what it's like. It's a process. So, but oh, is it well worth it for months to come? It's got a big payoff. When you want to have barbecue chicken or any other barbecue, and you tell your wife, well, take out a bag of hash, of red hash.
Cook some rice.
And cook a pot of rice, because we're going to have some rice and hash with it. All right, folks, that's my cook. I've been telling you for over a year and a half that I was going to show you how to make this, or how we make it. And that's how we make it. So until next time, this is Phil and Florence.
Janet and Florence.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.